Hi folks, welcome back. So today I want to take a look at a paper that's not a computer science paper, but one from the social sciences. Have you ever wondered how a song gets popular, how it becomes a hit? Is it a hit because it's a really good song? Is it a hit because all your friends told you about it? Why are the biggest hits so much bigger than the average hits? Those are the sorts of questions that this paper looks at. This was published in Science back in 2006. If you wanted to design an experiment to answer some of these questions, the big challenge is that in the real world, we can't really design these alternative worlds which are set up differently to help us check our hypothesis. There's only one history that we see in the real world where songs get popular or not. The really cool thing about this paper is that they were able to set up an experiment where they found more than 14,000 participants, and they were sent to a music website which was presented to them in two different ways depending on which experiment group they were assigned to. The two experiment groups were called the independent group and the social influence group. In the independent group, the participants did not see any social information about how popular a song was or how many other people had downloaded it. They could only listen to the songs and download them. And once they had listened to a song, they could rate it between 1 and 5 stars. In the other experiment group, which was called the social influence experiment group, the participants could see how many times each song had been downloaded by people before them. And this is what most music websites or websites with any type of content today are organized. You get to see a lot of social signals about how popular a given piece of content has already become. Now here's the extra step they took for the group that could see the social signals. That group was divided into one of 8 further worlds, and in each of these worlds the populations were completely independent. The evolution of the popularity of the songs was completely independent. So the way this experiment was set up, the popularity of the song in the independent condition, that is where they could not see any social influence signals, can roughly be interpreted as how good a song is. And because we have two groups, one without social signals and one with, we can then see how much the popularity of a song is influenced by the presence of social signals. And finally, because we've broken up the social signal part of the experiment into 8 parallel groups, we can then see how unpredictable success might be or how random it might be even in the presence of social signals. There's one more further twist in the experiment setup, which is they also tweaked how strongly the social signal was presented. So within the group that did see the social signals, they divided it into 2 more experiments. In the first one, you could see the songs in a grid and you could see how popular they already have become, but the positions of the song within the grid were random. They were not sorted by popularity. And in the second group within the social signal experiment, the songs were actually sorted by popularity. What were the results? What did they find out? One of the measurements they were looking at was the Gini coefficient, which is a measurement of inequality. It varies from 0, which means all the outcomes are equal, to 1, which is maximum inequality. And here the success of a song was defined by how often it was downloaded. As you can probably guess, the inequality in the social signal group was much higher than the independent group. The bigger hits were much bigger. Also, here we see that in experiment 2, which had the stronger social signal where the songs were sorted by popularity, resulted in much more inequality. Each of the dark bars over here represents one of the 8 worlds within the social signal group. So you can see there's some variance, but the pattern is clear that within the groups that saw social signals, the inequality among song hits was much larger. When we increase the strength of the social signal, when we show the songs sorted by popularity order, the inequality compared to the experiment group that did not get to see the social signals is much greater. Another interesting question to look at is what was the unpredictability of success between these experiment groups. The way they measure unpredictability is essentially how much variance there is in the success of a song, which was how many times it was downloaded, between these various worlds that they have set up. So the unpredictability of a song becoming a hit would be high if in one of these worlds it wasn't a hit and in another world it was a hit. And the unpredictability would be low if it was a hit in all the worlds or if it wasn't a hit in all the worlds. Again, here you can see that when people see social influence signals, the unpredictability of success increases. And when they see a stronger social influence signal, that increases the unpredictability of success. And finally, we can ask the question of, does the success of a song have anything to do with its quality? Do good songs become hits and do bad songs end up as flops? In these graphs, we're plotting the market share of each song. On the x-axis, we have the market share of a song in the independent condition without any social signals. And on the y-axis, we have the market share of the same song in the presence of social signals. What this graph is showing us that the market share or the success of a song in the independent condition, which can be roughly interpreted as how good the song is, correlates pretty well with its success in the social influence condition. The dotted line here is if it was a perfect correlation, and the dark line is a polynomial fit. So the dark line is a little bit above the dotted line. However, if you look at experiment 2, where the social signal was really, really strong, we see this kind of runaway pattern of hits where the big hits are much, much bigger than even the average hits. Of course, there are some caveats. In the real world, we also have a ton of marketing and media coverage of songs and artists, which is not really modeled in this experiment where participants could only see social signals on a website. But on the whole, this experiment gives a good look at the dynamics of success of content with and without social signals. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much.